pretty terrible teams in 2K history, right? Like every 2K, there's usually that one team where like, I'm not going to use that team. Last year, for example, like the Knicks, like, I love the Knicks, but I was not going to use that team because I couldn't win with them. Every 2K game, there's some pretty bad teams. I'm going to cover the 10 worst ever in 2K history. How I did this is that I went into NBA 2K of every single one ever, right? And I averaged out the lowest ratings possible for every single team. So I'm going to be showing you that in today's video. ¿Qué pasa to the pack? It is Pack here. Before this video starts, please be an OG, join the pack and subscribe. That helps the channel out a lot. And leave a like on the video. It helps it as much as you think it does. Okay? Number 10 on the list, we have the 76ers with an average rating of 68.9 overall from 2014. Okay, so this was the trust the process season. This was kind of like later on. They had Nerlens Noel, they had Thaddeus Young, Jason Richardson, Evan Turner. They also had Michael Carter-Williams, who people thought was going to be pretty good. And on top of that, they had drafted Joel Embiid, but he wasn't on the team yet in 2K because 2K doesn't add rookies till later. And on top of that, Joel Embiid was injured anyway, so this team was pretty bad. They had a 19-63 record, so they only had 19 wins that year. Really bad team. It's just their best player was Thaddeus Young as a 79 overall. If your best player is Thaddeus Young, you know your team's not going to be very good. I'm just being honest. Even though now Thaddeus Young has a higher rating than that, so good for him. But yeah, you had Kwame Brown on this team. Not a great team at all. Didn't win a lot of games, and it shows that in 2K, right? At number 9 on the list, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers of 2011 with an average rating of 68.7 overall. Okay, so they had a 19-63 record season, so not a good season at all, like not even cracking 20 wins, right? This was a year after LeBron had left or abandoned this team, low-key. So they didn't know what to do, right? This is also the season before Kyrie Irving was drafted. So without this season, they would have never got Kyrie. So there's that. But your best players are Antoine Jameson. You also had Mo Williams, Varejao, Ramon Sessions was on the team and the starter, Mario Moon. Yeah, not Ryan Hollins as a 55 overall. Like there was not a lot of talent on this team. It was the salty season for the Cavs without LeBron, and yeah, it is what it is. At number 8 on the list, we have the 2K10 Memphis Grizzlies with a 68.6 overall rating, and they were 40-42 for this season, which honestly, for a team that had very little talent according to 2K, that's not bad at all. But let's look at why this team was actually pretty decent, okay? So this team had Rudy Gay, OJ Mayo, Zach Randolph, Mike Conley, and Marc Gasol. That's actually a really good starting lineup at the time. Don't get me wrong, with their best player Rudy Gay and OJ Mayo, right? Here's the thing. Allen Iverson was on that team, right, for only 3 games, and so that's why he isn't on the actual team in 2K. If he had stayed on the team, this team would actually be pretty cool to use. Also, obviously, Marc Gasol got better, Mike Conley got better, Zach Randolph all got way better. So this team, in theory, is really good. Plus, they had DeMar Carroll, who would have got better over time. But those had bad players like Hashim the Beat, and those had Hamid Hadidi, who are known as pretty bad players in NBA history. So it was basically just a lot of young players trying to get better, Allen Iverson leaving the team, and all this stuff that made this team have a low rating. But a 40-42 record for the regular season is not bad at all. At number 7 on the list, we have 2K4 Utah Jazz, okay? So in NBA 2K4, right, this Utah Jazz team has very little talent, okay? There's actually a meme that you look at this picture and everyone's like, can you name the starting lineup of this team? A lot of people have struggled to. Now, there's the obvious person of AK-47, but he was younger. He was a 78 overall. Besides that, I mean, you had Matt Harping, who was their second leading scorer, Keon Clark, Mark Jackson, who was old, Scott Padgett, Deshaun Stevenson was on the team, Greg Ostertag, Carlos Arroyo. Like, talent-wise, this team wasn't very good. This is also the year that after Karl Malone went to the Lakers and also John Stockton retired, so it was a transition year. And however, they were 42-40. This team has an average rating of 68. And they were 42-40. They somehow got 42 wins. It's one of the greatest coaching seasons of all time from Jerry Sloan. And no one even on this team averaged more than 16. It's insane. At number 6 on this list, we have the Cavaliers from NBA 2K12 with a 67.9 rating. Their record for the regular season was 21-45. This is kind of the same with the 2011, or I guess 2K11 team, but the difference is now they have rookie Kyrie that wasn't even added into the game until later on in the year. So this team was just everyone that was on the team last time but got worse. It's the same team though, not a good team. No one's over a 74 overall, which is one of the lowest starting lineup ratings of all time. Yeah, not good. At number 5 on the list, we have the 2K11 Raptors. They have an average rating of 67.4. The regular season record was 22-60. So they had 22 wins, but still not good. And there was some positives here. I mean, they had 8 players that scored double figures in the season, right? So, I mean, that's actually not terrible. Baby DeMar DeRozan was on the team. Barjani was in his prime. Leonardo Barbosa wasn't a bad player. But this team was pretty rough. And you know what the crazy thing is? This isn't even the worst Raptors team on this list. At number 4 on this list, we have the Milwaukee Bucks with the best record on this list, by the way. But first, they had a 67.4 average rating, but they were 46-36. First of all, that's a pretty good rating. That's a pretty good record for the regular season. Let's break down what was going on with this team. Okay, so John Salmons, who came to the team later in the season, was averaging 20 points per game on this team. Okay, Andrew Bogut was on the team, Brandon Jennings was on the team, and they barely lost in the first round to the Hawks. So this team actually was not bad at all, even though their talent was pretty weak. Michael Redd was the best player talent-wise. They had Luke Mbah-a-Moute, they had Kurt Thomas, Luke Ridenour, and on top of that, you had Jody Meeks. So this team, in hindsight, I guess wasn't too bad, but at the time, they were considered talent-wise really weak. But they impressed everyone that year. At number 3 on this list, we have the 2K12 Raptors with a 66.7 overall rating, which is super low, and they had a 23-43 record for the year. This is basically exactly like the 2K11 team. However, Jose Calderon was a little better this year, but look at the starting lineup. They only have one player in the 70 overall club with Leonardo Barbosa, and that's it. This is easily the worst starting lineup in 2K history. It's not even close. And just looking at this team in general is a shame. At number 2 on this list, we have the Charlotte Bobcats from 2K12 with a 66.7 rating average, and they went 7-59 that year. One of the worst records in NBA history. I mean, they were absolutely terrible of a team, okay? No one scored more than 15 points per game. Corey Maggette was a 74 overall as the best player with Tyrese Thomas. DJ Augusty was on the team, Gerald Henderson. They did get Kemba Walker later in the year, but he wasn't even good at the time either. I mean, Kwame Brown was on this team. You had a 52 overall in Senga Diop. This team was absolutely atrocious. And finally, at number 1, it is the Kings from NBA 2K10 with a 65.8 overall average rating. So I did think this was kind of low, but there is actually a pretty good reason for it. So this team ended up with a 25-57 record, which is not good. Kevin Martin was a 19-point per game scorer on the team, and he was traded away in the middle of the season for Carl Landry, so that probably didn't help out at all. Now, Kevin Martin was a 77 overall, but nobody else was good. I mean, you had Tyreek Evans, who was their best player for most of the season, but that was it. I mean, literally, that was it. Beno Udrih was the third option of that team, and he's a 64 overall. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Kings and how bad they were that season. This Kings team had an average rating of 65.8. Yeah, lower than 66 overall. That's atrocious. That is it for this video. Those are the worst teams in 2K history. What do you think? Do you agree with 2K? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, please give it a sub, and I'll see you guys next time.